everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now if you're new here and you want to help support the channel and see more content, then please consider subscribing to my channel. NANI? From now on, however, you can also become a member of my YouTube channel. For only $4.99 a month, you will help support my content, support my live streams, and that way I can keep doing what I do. You will get access to these nice little badges next to your name. You can use these custom emojis, and you will also get a shout out on all the ends of the tutorials that I post. I will reply to your comments first, and you will get early access to new videos. So if you want to become a member, then consider doing that today. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Today I want to show you guys something. It's a little technique that allows you to get more tonality out of your bass sounds in a very simple way. The only thing that's really important is this fourth layer, this fourth harmonic layer. And that's what we're going to talk about. But first, let's have a little listen what this sounds like right now.
I'm so sorry. So sorry. I'm so sorry.
In here, I have these MIDI notes right here of the bass line, and these are also doing some pitch bends. As you can see, they're doing pretty big pitch bends, mostly octaves down, and then here it actually goes almost 2 octaves down. Now, this is the sub. It's literally just a sub from Serum. Then we have a mid-res. So that's just layered with the sub. And I can show you the sub real quick. It's literally just this. That's the sub. There's no effects, nothing. It's just that. And for the mid-res, it's again very simple. It's just a couple of saw waves and some noise, no effects. So just the same thing. And then we have this final layer, which is the distorted saws, which, as you can hear, is exactly what it says what it is. It's just some very distorted saw waves. Just 16 saws right here, running through a comb filter just to kind of mess with the phase. And then this effects chain here is, again, mostly just distortion, something to mess with the phase, a multiband compressor, which, again, is kind of doing distortion as well. It's bringing up all the high end, so that's doing a similar thing. This is then taking out some of the low end. Then we have a chorus, which of course is again messing with the phase. And then we have a high pass, taking out all of the low end again that might have been created somewhere. And then again we have this, a little bit of low passing here. And then we've got this dynamic tube, more distortion of course. A redux, which is bringing the sound down to 2 bits, so it's really distorted. And then an EQ and some final distortion. When I had these 3 layers, I started doing the post-processing. So I added some filtering with Rift, which is only doing some filtering. All that's important is that this one is not doing any distortion. The drive is all the way down, these knobs are all the way down. The only thing that's doing something here is this filter, which again is messing with the phase because of this very resonant peak in the low mids. So that is then running into Serum Effects, which is doing some distortion, and that already creates most of the sound. So then we have another Rift, which is doing some distortion and some filtering, and this is really breaking the sound, especially on the pitch bends. It almost gets a really flabby kind of sound, which is really nice. That's what I really wanted on this one. That is then running through some EQ. Then we have a rack here, which is just adding some stereo width. So it's a dry chain and a wide chain, which is just adding some width to the sound. And then we have FabFilter Saturn, which is doing a very heavy amount of distortion on the mid frequencies here, 100% drive, and subtle amount of tube saturation on the low frequencies and subtle amount of tape saturation on the high frequencies. And that is also what is giving us the level that we need. So that's starting to sound really big now. Then we have an EQ, which is just a little bit of a smiley face kind of EQ, taking out some of the mids, boosting some of the low end and some of the high end. We have a utility at the end making the bass mono, and then we have a limiter, just the Ableton limiter, to make sure we're not clipping. This rack right here is doing some filtering that is turned on in the build section. So at this point, I had this entire bass sound. I really like it, but I thought it is missing something. So when I play this fourth layer, you'll immediately hear what this is. This is two individual sine waves at different pitches creating a chord together. But because I'm using the harmonic series, these harmonies that it's creating are harmonically or mathematically related to the MIDI note feeding into this serum. So that way, these notes are always going to work with whatever it's layered with that is playing the same MIDI notes, because they're harmonically related. I'm also automating the pitch of the second oscillator. So at the start of this, you can see it has 4 oscillations on this one, whereas this first one has 5 oscillations. So that's why they're different pitches, right? And the second one is also an octave up from the first one. So that's why these pitches are different. But then halfway, I'm automating this to become 6 cycles. So now we have 5 and 6. So that creates a different chord, and then it goes back to 4, and that repeats then. So this, when we add that to the bass sound, so if I play the bass sound by itself, you can already hear how much that adds to the bass. So this is without. And then this is with. So you can start to hear it gets a really interesting tone suddenly because of these sine waves. Now listen to what happens when we add the processing back. So I'm just going to go back here and let's enable all the processing again. And now listen to what happens. So this is without the harmonic layer. And like I said, I thought it was missing something, so I added this harmonic layer, and now we get this. And it suddenly becomes so much better. It sounds a lot more alive. Now let me play that in the mix. So if I play that in the mix, this is without that harmonic layer. And then this is with. So you can see how that single oscillator, or that single synth with 2 sine waves, is just really adding a lot of tonality to this bass. And the pitches of these sine waves are going to matter a lot as well. So if we take, for instance, this one and turn it up to, I don't know, 7 or 8. You can see how using different pitches for these oscillators is going to hugely affect what the sort of like the resonance in the sound does. So that's basically it for this video. It's a very simple little trick, but it really works, and you can see I'm automating the pitch throughout this whole bass line to kind of change over time. But yeah, I hope you like that. I hope you learned something. I hope you are able to use this and play around with it. And if you make something cool, then join my Discord and feel free to post your stuff there, because I would love to hear what you've done with this. Now, if you want to see more of this content, these videos are made available early to all my Patreon supporters. My Patreon supporters help me continue this whole thing of making tutorials for you guys, so if you want to help me do that and get some samples every month back in return, get early access to my videos, access to my Ableton skins and all my other downloads, then check out patreon.com/artifacts. Thanks for all the support. My Patreon has grown a lot in the last month of the past year, and I honestly can only thank you guys for that, because it's really helping. So thanks for that. That was it for this video. I'm gonna be back soon with another one. Join the Discord, all the links are in the description below the video, and I'll see you guys again soon. Peace.
I'm so